Hello everyone, I'm Minerva and I'm back with another episode of Tuesday Talks. And today we have Noorul with us. Hello Noorul, thank you so much for contributing to Abir Pothi and talking about your practice.
Hi, Miwa. Thank you for having me.
I think this conversation would be really great because today we are talking about not about art, but something different. We are talking about photography, which is another form of art. But until now, we have interviewed only practicing artists like sculptors and painters. You're the first photographer we'll be talking to. So it would be a little different than usual. Nurul studied political science in his bachelor's and then switched to photography. So how was that switch? What did you think that okay, I want to now do photography because political science background is something entirely different.
Yeah, also the photography didn't just happen like is my first choice, or it just happened because after graduating from doing BA political science, and my idea was to to do a UPSC, prepare for the UPSC and all. But after passing out the college, while I was sitting and preparing for the exam, and I got little isolated from the world, like just in the room to the coaching center with this small group just talking about the subject that we have to prepare for the test. And I got a little worried, like this is not happening, this is not me. I want to go out in the world and see something and do something apart
Mm.
from this, from this coaching center, and call my elder brother, what to do, like this is not me, this is not my life. So yeah, then he suggested me, what you want to do, what your interest, like apart from not being preparing for the UPSC. uh, I said, like, I want to do something in literature and something in cinema, but it's a big idea that I was sharing with him. But he told me that is one of his very good friend, from a school friend, that he's a photographer, and he's showing his work
Mm.
uh, in IC, in India Habitat Center in 2014. Why don't you go and meet him and just talk, like, about everything that you like to, like, in doing cinema or something. Might give you something, help you, or suggest you something. Then yes, I went to meet him, and his name is Adil Ashin, and he
Mm.
is an amazing photographer and an amazing storyteller. So I met him, and he suggested, why, okay, cinema is a big start, actually. If you want to go to cinema, why don't you start from photography? Maybe you will find a way into it. And he suggested to me study photography. So there's one institute in Delhi, so Sri Aurobindo Center of Arts and Communication. It's a 1 year creative documentary course for year for diploma. Then I
Mm.
enrolled it, and then my photography journey started, and I got very much hooked into the
Mm.
term. And since then, I've been photographing and learning photography every moment.
And how did you find photography? Like, or did photography find you? How did that happen? When was the first time you had interaction with photography and you were like, okay, maybe I can do this, or maybe I'm good at it?
I think photography find me. I did not find photography, and it's happened very within a time, actually. Uh, the more I get to know, the more I get involved with this practice, with this space, and the people I have met in school and outside the school. It's because photography is very much solo practitioner. Like, you don't need a people around you, and it's like solo journey. So something that also, which I enjoy being myself, not to be hassled by, like, in a group, and struggle with that. So I think that's the journey started, and I got very much understanding photography and this long term, because the idea of photography for me was just fashion and National Geographic. That was the only idea that I had in my mind when before learning photography or going into the school. But it is more beyond that. I After introduced in this in this course of documentary photography, how to tell your
Mm.
story.
What was that first photograph of yours where you thought that, this is it. This is what I want to do. And if you can share that picture, of course, we'll love putting it up here when we'll be talking about it. So,
Absolutely. Uh, s- I mean, we have given a lot of assignment while we're in the school, in the school photography while we're learning. So there's this one exercise that we have to do. We have to take a self portrait, uh, and that is something very very evoking for me at that time, because you shy yourself to in front of the camera, and I was struggling with that, like how to be naked in front of, not be naked as a body, but naked as a person, as a human. And that was very I was very struggling with that, and something that really opened me in that in that exercise. So it's one of the image which I really felt, oh damn, this is,
this is, I think I can do something in it.
yeah. So yeah, that's the, I think, the turning point, and uh, to feel it, to see it, to tell something about just not just one image. I mean, it's a series of image that you talk about the telling the story. Yeah,
Mhm.
the self-portrait of me like kind of change to learn more about this
Yep.
practice.
Yeah. So Nurul is in Denmark currently. So what's going on? What are you doing? What's happening in Denmark? How's your practice going there? What are the current projects you're working? Tell us all about it.
I'm doing a photojournalism here in Denmark, in Aarhus. There's a city called Aarhus, and the school is Danish Media School of Journalism, is one of the very renowned photojournalism in the world, you can say. But
Mm.
yeah, it's very renowned, and I got the scholarship for that, and I'm very blessed that I got this opportunity to be part of this school, and I mean, tell my story, and also learn so much from the people and the mentor over here, and they're so amazing and they're so great. I mean, right now I'm working on my final project. It's the last semester of my 4 to 1. It's the idea of belonging. It's the
Mm.
idea of home. It's a kind of a social inquiry that I'm looking at the place that I am coming from, India, and exploring the identity shift when someone moves from a life which is very instability, very unstable. Uh,
Mm.
so, so I'm looking at the people, and people who have been migrated from mostly South Asia, and trying to have an interview with them, trying to know them, is what is safe space look for them, and how this
Mm.
social security give them to live here in Denmark.
You started with a self-portrait and then now you're doing photojournalism. How has your photography practice evolved in itself?
I mean, while I was studying back in Delhi 10 years back, doing this 1 year documentary photography from your window. So that was an introduction for documentary, and we have to make a story. And at that time, in the school in Delhi, back in Delhi, and we have to make some project that we can show as exhibition, and also the part of the school uh, final project. So my journey started from there actually. Like I've started looking for a the story of my own. It's a very personal story, and I started working on my after school, because I was also looking for a work to what to do after that, because it's a dying practice also. Like you don't get work in documentary, and there's no money in documentary. So I was looking for something how I can sustain myself. But I was doing art thing. I was doing everything. I was doing event photography. I was doing uh, wedding photography. I was doing NGO work. Yeah, but also I was so much involved with this story of my own that I started in school about me, who I am as a person, and looking in the lens from belonging, and and now it's become a huge part of my work, and it's the 10 years of my journey, and I trying to put into the photo books. Yes, I mean, photography has been evolved from the self portrait to the story of me calling where is a home for me, who is this individual person is, and what is the journey of. It's like it's a constant shift from this world, and I'm like, and my practice is mostly writing a daily journal, and that's transfer me into telling story as a documentary photographer or a visual artist.
I'm sure you must have worked with different styles of photography.
Yes.
So, which style of photography do you find the most challenging? Which style of photography is your favorite, and which is something you find it very difficult to work with?
I lean heavily toward portrait and documentary photography, but I also do a fashion editorial work back in India before coming to Denmark. Uh, but for me, is like doing landscape and architecture photography is something which I can't do it because there's no human, and with the landscape and the with the architecture, it's very straight, and I'm very much into to see understand the human feeling and I can connect with that. But with the empty space, I struggle with it. How to tell story in the empty space?
So my journey. So I'm a visual artist. I've done my bachelor's in painting. My journey with art started with photography back in school.
Okay.
So we had this photography club every Friday. We used to have like 1 hour, 2 hours, and we used to take our DSLRs, people who had it, and then we were sent to in the school campus because it was huge. And you were asked to click photographs and then show it, and then our teacher would guide us with the framing
Yeah.
or the taping and everything. So it eventually started with it, and then I started taking it more seriously, and most of my photographs are architectural photography and landscape, and I enjoy it to bits. I enjoy the different textures which you see on the stones, the different patterns which say so much about the history.
Right.
You can put the patterns, and I mean, I have, I mean, uh, I think at this point I can look at the patterns on the ceiling or on the walls or on the pillars and identify if it's a Mughal architecture or or that it has a Jain influence into it, or this is this architectural style. So when you said that, architectural photography is something which I find it challenging, it reminded me that I have worked most with architectural photography, and personally I think I struggle a lot with portrait photography. I do even I don't know, I cannot. I mean, I know the framing and all the basics, but there's some essence in portrait photography which you have to bring out, which I think I struggle with a lot.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, one of my very dear friend is a architectural photographer, and he's good at it. Like, uh, but I struggle with it because I mean, there's no, there's only concrete, and you have to really very defining about the, the space. And if I there's nobody, and I really struggle that. But yeah, I mean, it's just I think to understand the I think depend on the person to person, also the individual practice, or who is the person is, and their taste.
And what kind of tools and formats do you like to work with? Like, do you like, have you, I'm sure you must have experienced film photography or digital photography or both. And nowadays, I think even mobile phones are quite advanced. I mean, I think since I've invested in a good phone, I've stopped using my DSLR because then it's like a lot of responsibility to also take care of it. This one time
Yes.
my camera lens got fungus on it, and then it cost me some amount to get it repaired. So I
Right.
think that's a way too
Yeah.
much of maintenance. So I think I chose to invest in a good mobile phone with a good camera. So I think it works both ways.
Very, yeah, I mean, photography is also very expensive art form, like, or it's a or because you have to invest a lot of money in that,
Mm,
and every time you have to upgrade something. It'll also depend, like, where are you? Are you in the commercial space? Then you have to keep upgrading yourself, keep updating yourself with the software and everything. But for me, like, it's not that much of a struggle to with with the format, uh,
mm,
because I know what I'm doing actually. Like, uh, for me, I use film, but I use film only with my personal relationship. If I'm back in home, I mostly shoot in film, and if I'm doing my project, I like to shoot in my digital because
mm,
also film is very expensive. Uh,
mm,
but also, like, but once you know the your tool is, then you're very easy to understand how to,
mm.
like,
It's like you have to pick your poison.
yeah, you know your limits. So when
Yeah.
you know your limit, then you can create something in that.
Mm,
But only depend on, like, for which purpose you're doing it, and that is very important, I feel. So yeah, I mean, if I'm doing commercial, so I mostly rent the
mm,
equipment. Then I don't want to invest money on, because doesn't
mm.
I like, yeah.
Walk us through your creative process that how do you move from different concept do you conceptualize your pictures or your series to the final image, or is it accidental? How's it? How's your photography, or I mean creative process like?
Yeah,
Mm,
but yeah, if there's an assignment, if I'm doing a editorial shoot or taking a profile portrait for somebody, then I know what I'm gonna take it, because then I talk with the person I'm then gonna work with. Then we
mm,
set it and make a mood board around it, and
mm,
it's then it's very clear that I go and I take these certain images and it's done. Uh, that's how we work in a commercial or any editorial practice. We make a mood board and we work around that. And what's the theme and what's the idea? If it's going for the newspaper, it's going for the magazine, it's going for the press. So we know what's underlying around it. So
mm,
which is very much clear and also help for me as well as a photographer, that I know what I'm not do in the shoot. But
mm,
as for my, like, my personal work, I do sit with my story, and I sometime I just keep shooting and keep clicking the images that excite me and which engage me. But for my also my practice also come with a lot of with writing that I do. uh,
mm. Okay.
it's a social encounter of my own thoughts and the things that I learn, the things that I read. So I try to reflect on images, and
Mm,
try to work after that. And, like, I make an edit of my images, and I sit with it and look
mm,
if this work is making sense to what I'm trying to tell. Is there any story? Then if there's a story, then I try to send it to the people, like, to have a reflect and tell me, is it making any point, any uh, make sense to the work.
mm,
So yeah, that's how it works. And yeah, for the mostly personal work, I don't actually make a mood board, but I have a background around it, that what's the
mm,
story I'm working on, because
mm,
I keep writing on it, and that is something which always helped me while I'm sitting with images, and it's helped me in editing and make a.
Do you prefer your photographs to speak for themselves, or do you like providing a context?
No, I believe in a delicate balance actually. My photographs often speak on their own.
Mm,
They are very emotional and layered and invite interpretation.
mm,
But I also want to offer a context, because my most of the body of work is a long term project, and I like to give a text and the context behind it. So it's go with the flow. I don't want to be reader to get confused and left out in some way, because sometimes when you have this long term project and you don't give any context, and it get it's it's get away with the reader. And it's always, I feel it's very important to give some context to hold to your work.
Whose work inspires you? I mean, are there photographers, past, present?
Actually, there's so many people who always inspire me. I mean, uh, uh, but currently I'm very much very inspired with the all the young generation, and all the people who is from the 80s and 90s, not the 70s or the 60s, all the classic photographers. I mean it's good to learn from them as you're starting your photography. uh, but I believe, I mean, what's happening in South Asia, there's so many young photographers whom you can learn a lot from them. And but I really got inspired by this photographer called Shorabura. He's a really best photographer, and he's amazing photographer. He's also a very world renowned photographer, one of the I think the second member from the India in Mannum. And his work really take me, and I keep visiting his work whenever I get lost in my process. It's bring me back all the time. And apart from this, Adil Hussain, who who inspired me to get into photography. His work, he's a fashion photographer basically. But,
Yeah.
but his personal work really very close, very uh, very family, very emotional. His work above all ill about his father is really drawn me. And uh, yeah, it's very close to me, that work. And it's very emotional work. Uh, that work, because he in that work he showed his his father, but in a way that it's very close also, because it's in the book format, and it's a gatefold. Until unless you don't open the gatefold, you don't see his father. You see the city, you see the space, the home. But once you open the pages, the gatefold, you will see his father. Yeah. And also there's a photographer called Nan Godlin from the classic era. But her work is really uh, is also very social inquiry of the society. Uh,
Mm.
and that also uh, really inspired me, and it's still very relevant to the at this moment, at this present. There's a photographer called Sherry Mukherjee from India, but she based in New York. Her work also is a transgenerational practice of a self portrait, and reflect on herself as
Mm.
as as a woman growing in India, and how she understand that uh, that her work is also inspire me. Um, there's so many. There's this photographer called from South India. Uh,
Mhm.
he also worked on his father, Balaji Maheshwar.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because his father was a filmmaker, as and and he did a story on his father, like he couldn't become a renowned actor. He
Mhm.
story on all around him, and it was very beautiful work. I mean, if you get a chance to just go look at his work, Balaji Maheshwar.
Okay. Thank you so much for recommending. So, how do you recharge creatively? What occupies your time when you're not, working and you're not behind the camera?
I watch movies. I read books. Uh,
Wait.
and and these days I'm listening a lot of music, mostly classical music. And right now in Denmark, I'm also learning this very classic dance form, tango.
Oh, how's it going?
Oh, it's amazing. uh, it's so like, I mean, I never thought that I will learn dance, but yeah, this really occupied me at this moment apart from photography. So every Thursday I go to this class, and yeah, it's fun.
It sounds fun, I'm sure. I mean, learning a new form of
Yeah, it's also give you the break and to to see the other side of the way.
and explore some other culture which is completely new for you.
Yes, and I did a whole small documentary on tango here.
Oh, please share it with us. We'd love to watch it.
Yeah, I will share it with you. Yeah, I did a story on tango here. Uh,
Mm,
it's
that's
because it's not a dance form; it's more of a human connection. How you socialize, because tango is also is part of socializing. Because at this, I mean, I feel because people think that tango is a very old classic dance form, and most of the young generation try to avoid not to learn, but that's the only way of connecting to the people. Like you go and sit and you look to the people and make eye contact, and then you approach. That's one way of socializing, and I think it's very beautiful actually. Like
mm. Please
go
share it.
yeah, I will.
Watch it.
Yeah, I will.
Wait, what's this one piece of advice you'd like to give to the young photographers who are starting out in this world?
Mm, I mean, I think we need to be very patient and make a lot of mistakes. Uh,
Mm,
because if you make mistake, then you get to learn, and
mm,
then I mean, then your craft can be more polished by making mistake and mistake and mistake. Uh, yeah, that's something I have learned because I mistake, I do mistake a lot, and that's something also make me make me this eager to learn and learn and learn, because I have worked with so many artists and I have seen the the mistake they did
mm,
in their past and how they become and so establish photographer or artist or so I think the we shouldn't take mistake as a failure. We should take it as
mm,
a good way of learning, and that's
mm.
something I take myself every time and wherever I go with my practice.
Great. Thank you so much, Nurul, for giving us your time and contributing to Abir Poti. Unfortunately, we are in crunch time, so we'd like to put it here. There were more questions, and we would have loved to know more about your practice, but
Yes,
due to
amazing. Thank you
time,
so
we
much.
need to end it here.
No worries. It was good to talk to you.
It was great knowing your journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
We loved having you with us today. Stay tuned for more insightful conversations and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Catch you real soon. Bye.